Hello everyone, hello. This year is dedicated to Leili Nishmas, Rachalea, Bas, Rab Chaim Tzvi. Towards the end of the previous class, we were discussing Aaron's connection and Aaron's role when Miriam spoke, when the Torah records that Miriam spoke the Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu. The Torah says Miriam started and then they spoke together. So the Chafetz Chaim in a footnote discusses Miriam, etc. And then we began discussing Aaron a little bit. And the question is, was Aaron punished for his involvement in the parsha with Lashon Hara with Miriam? Was he punished or not? Did he receive Tzara'at? So I wanted to go back to that and discuss that a little more in depth. After last week's shir, a listener made a comment, asked a question, and it led to I did a little more research, and there is a lot more material regarding Aaron's role, connected with Aaron's role and Tzara'at, and I wanted to share it with you. So there's a machlokes in the Gemara in Masechah Shabbos whether Aaron received Tzara'at as well. It's a machlokes in the Gemara. How to learn the psukim? The pasuk says that when Hashem was upset with Miriam, so the pasuk says there towards the end of Bahaloscha, the pasuk says, "Vayichar af Hashem bam, vayelach." The wrath of Hashem flared up against them, bam, both of them. So based on that word bam, it sounds like Hashem was equally angry with both of them. So therefore, some Tanoim hold that Aaron also received Tzara'at, and he also received Tzara'at, and that l'chora would make some sense, l'chora, because since Aaron also began speaking Lashon Hara, okay, so then he would receive Tzara'at. But the other Tana says, no, he didn't receive Tzara'at. So why not? So we discussed last class that maybe why not is that even if Aaron began speaking Lashon Hara, but it was Lo Ahanu Maisav, Aaron's speaking didn't add anything to what was happening already, very possibly. And therefore, the Gemara says that if what you do doesn't accomplish anything in a negative way, so then you don't receive Tzara'at, rather the Me'il is Mechaper. And Aaron was wearing the Me'il, the clothing of the Kohen Gadol. That's the answer which Rav Nevin Saul gave, a beautiful answer to explain that approach, that Aaron did not receive Tzara'at. Okay. Now, it's interesting, it was also pointed out to me, that the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, on the Chumash there, has a diuk in the pasuk, that he thinks that this pasuk fits better according to the view that Aaron did receive Tzara'at, but it left right away. It's striking. There's a phrase in the Torah that seems to be superfluous. It's a little bit extra. In Perek Yud Bey's pasuk Yud, so the Torah writes, Hinei Miriam et Tzara'at kashalik. Miriam had Tzara'at. This is the pasuk after the bam. Vayifen Aaron el Miriam v'hinei mit Tzara'at. And Aaron turns to Miriam, and she had Tzara'at. It's like there's a emphasis, and she had Tzara'at. So the Or HaChaim HaKadosh explains that this pasuk is hinting that Aaron did receive Tzara'at, but it left right away. As soon as he turned to Miriam, and only Miriam had Tzara'at. That's the pshat on the end of the pasuk. It's emphasizing that although originally Vayichar af Hashem bam, they both had Tzara'at, but Aaron's role apparently was less. It was more of a minor role, and therefore the Tzara'at left more quickly from Aaron. Just that's a very good makar to know the Or HaChaim HaKadosh on the pasuk. Now, there's another angle to analyze here regarding Aaron's role, and it's relevant to Lashon Hara in general, and it will lead us into a bit of a broader discussion as well. And that is, before the speaking of Lashon Hara, Aaron listened to Miriam's Lashon Hara. So what about the question of, does somebody receive Tzara'at? A listener also raised this question as well. Does somebody receive Tzara'at for listening to Lashon Hara? Most of the Makoros that we find in Chazal and in the Gemara, that if you speak Lashon Hara, you're punished with Tzara'at. That's by speaking Lashon Hara. What about listening to Lashon Hara? So actually, this question is raised explicitly by the Chafetz Chaim himself. Back in Mitzvah Saseh Gimel, we spent a whole series going through the introduction of the Chafetz Chaim. The mitzvos aseh and lo taseh connected with Lashon Hara. So back in Mitzvah Gimel, back in Lav Gimel, at the end of footnote Gimel, the Chofetz Chaim raises this question. Does someone who's Makabel Lashon Hara receive Tzara'at? And he has a suffix, he's not sure. Suffix, he has a question, he's not sure. The Chofetz Chaim writes, it's back in Lav Gimel, the very last few lines of footnote Gimel. Al Makabel Tzarich Iyon, Imhu Shosek, Ve'enu Mesayeh lo b'shum dibur, rak shumaymin lo b'libo, Im gam hu nilkeh, b'tzara'as of where is that b'tzarich Iyon. Chofetz Chaim has a question, a suffix is one who listens to Lashon Hara. Makabel, does he receive Tzara'as as well? So l'chora, it seems, it's interesting, the Chofetz Chaim doesn't mention Aaron as part of this discussion, and we'll see in a few minutes